Commitment means you're willing to suffer. When you start a project, you got to follow it through to the end. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today I'm going to talk to you about the meaning of commitment, because anytime you start a project, you're always going to encounter things you don't like. And you always start out thinking only about the things that you do like, the activities, the results, the expectations. Only when you get into it, you realize you got to do things you didn't plan for, things that are not pleasant, like waking up at 5 a.m. or executing skills you didn't know you needed to learn. And that happens on any project, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you got a new position at a job or even in a new relationship. You know about this. But I'm going to talk to you about, there's a lot of people creating side projects because it's the cost of living is going up and you got to do something else to make ends meet and save up money. So it's just like starting a business. It's the same mindset as an entrepreneur. You have hope, you're delving into the unknown, you have enough courage to take the chance. Only when you take the action steps, everyone who's an entrepreneur, you know this, that when your plans go out the door 6 months into your project, 3 months into your project, a week into your project, all of the things you planned for and expected for they're not there. And there's always a curveball. There's always things that throw you off. Think about sports, if you will. Think about any kind of athletic activity when you're competing against somebody and you underestimate your opponent. There's only so many things you can plan for and predict. You just can't plan for everything. So what that means is, when you truly want something, you truly visualize it, you got to accept the good and the bad that comes with it. Being romantic, the word romance means you think everything is nice. You focus on all the good things, the things that make you feel good, the things that make you go goo goo gaga, but not the dirty dishes, not the dirty laundry, not the disagreements. Being overly romantic about things and not willing to accept all aspects of the scenario, you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to set yourself up for disappointment. So if you think you got everything figured out, just know that you don't. There's always going to be something that you didn't even think of. I think restaurant, if you're a chef, you know this. If you're a salesperson, you know this. You're going to get objections you never thought you would hear. And you're going to freeze and not know how to handle it. You got to learn on the spot. You learn as you go. Never anybody says, for me, hey, Spencer, you got this. I said, I'll just figure it out as I go along. I'll figure it out. And I usually do. I'm not trying to be conceited. I'm just sharing with you, you got to have the mentality of a growth mindset. You got to learn as you go because you can't figure everything out all at once. Learn this in skateboarding. I grew up skateboarding and, it's all about learning tricks. And I would figure out after I started trying the trick that I would learn from my mistakes as I made them and then correct myself and make micro adjustments until I learned the trick. And then I didn't really know what I did, and I'd have to go back and do the trick to see if I can do it consistently to know exactly what I did right and have the distinction between what I did right and what I did wrong, or what created results and what didn't. And knowing that created clarity and wisdom. And that's the end result, is clarity and wisdom. Now you know. So when you're starting a business, you're starting a project, it's pretty much the same thing. You're going to start with the plan. They're going to predict everything you think you need to do and all the steps you need to take because you're going to visualize it. You're going to visualize the end goal and you're going to take steps backwards. You're going to see what you did to get there. And if you're having trouble, if you get stuck halfway through and you want to quit, this usually happens roughly 6 weeks into something. There's always this sense of, why the hell am I waking up? You want to lose weight, you're going to go start running, you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. First, you're going to be excited because you anticipate with the hope you developed that the end result will be real in the life and the whatever comes with losing weight. And you have that in your mind. It gets you excited. It wakes you up in the morning at 5 a.m. And then you start doing it and you start to realize you're not losing the weight you want to lose, or you lose a certain weight and then you plateau. This happens in every project. Whether it's building a shed, whether it's creating podcasts like this, whether it's creating a community project, or starting a business, this happens roughly 4 to 7 weeks into the project. You're working out, you're lifting. You put on some gains, you're getting stronger. All of a sudden you plateau and you realize, why am I lifting now? What do I got to do? It's getting boring. I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. That's what happens in any project. You start to experience the redundancy and the monotony. You start to experience failure. You start to experience applying yourself and it not working. It's frustrating when you can't solve a problem, when you can't create a solution. You feel like you're running in circles. You're a dog chasing its tail, and you wake up, why am I doing this? You start to doubt yourself. You start to question yourself. You start to question the method, the tactic, the work, the action. You start to even question why you got into it in the first place. You got to be willing to suffer. You got to be willing to work extra hours. You got to be willing to learn new skills. And when you've put in 10-hour, 12-hour, 14-hour days, and then you heard, well, I got to learn new skills. I got to learn negotiation skills. Now I got to learn sales. Now I got to learn how to use an electric screwdriver or a skill saw. Now I got to do this and do that, and I didn't expect this. It's not what I thought it would be. People quit. When things get tough, the tough get going. The weak-minded quit. That's what separates the strong from the weak, the resilient from the unresourceful. It's about your resourcefulness. A true leader has resourcefulness. You know your assets. You know your inner assets, your own skills. You know the limitation of those skills. You also know your outer assets, your networking ability, the stores where you can buy equipment, the websites you can order things from, people you can hire, Fiverr.com, and people you can delegate things to. But you hit that point of, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know. These are my skills. What else can I do? I'm at my wit's end. I don't want to learn anything. I've gotten this far. And then you have the attitude, I know everything. I'll figure it out. And you need help. You need someone to teach you. And you're just not willing to learn. Because it hurts. You got to pay the price. You always got to be willing to give something up to gain something. What's the payoff? You got to give up comfort. This is where I'm going with this. When things get uncomfortable, you want to quit. You got to give up comfort. Whether it's food, whether it's sleeping in on Saturday, or whether it's just not showing up. It's easier to daydream and fantasize than it is to actually apply yourself and work. I had a friend who we were going to start a band. And turns out, well, that never happened. And then he started a band many years later with some random people. And one of the members used to talk to me, who was his cousin. I want to leave the names out. I don't need to point fingers. But his cousin would tell him, like, why isn't it working out? Because this person who was my friend, we'll call him D. D didn't want to take singing lessons. He didn't want to take voice lessons. His timing is off. He doesn't have rhythm. He doesn't want to get trained musically, even though he's a pretty good guitarist. he just didn't, he was undisciplined. And the band never launched. They played like a couple local shows at a local bar, never in an arena or event center. And eventually it just dissolved. All because he didn't want to train. He didn't want to receive any kind of vocal training and discipline, create a weekly jam session and actually work on songs and develop them. He just wanted to jam. Well, how are you going to make a music song and then repeat that same song if you're just jamming? Hey, it's fun to jam, but reproduce that jam over and over and over again. What scale were you using? What chords were you playing? What key were you in? What's the timing? So without discipline, because most people get into something for the pleasure. The dopamine kicks in, you do certain work, and it's rewarding. You feel that rush of energy, the dopamine response. And then you want the serotonin response of, I just want to relax. I want to be comfortable. I want to eat. I want to have a beer. I want to put my feet up. It doesn't work that way. More people are fixed on the goal than the process. If you don't appreciate the process, you're never going to achieve the goal. The goal doesn't manifest without the process, without the work, without due diligence, without action steps. If you're in it for the feeling of elation and excitement and adventure, well, that feeling will soon fade. Once you realize you're running out of skills and you need to learn a new skill, or your attitude of, I don't need to do that. I don't need to get this. I don't need to take voice lessons. I don't need to read a week. I don't want to do that. Doesn't bring me pleasure. You start whining because it's not comfortable, because you're not honest with yourself. Just be honest with yourself. Admit you don't know it all and you need help. You need training. Or you need an attitude adjustment. Your sense of entitlement is not going to get you there. You're just expecting things to work out is not going to get there without putting time and energy and work into it. And work doesn't work unless you learn as you go. You keep improving your actions and your skills. And this is where commitment wanes. It begins to not feel good. You don't get that excitement, the monotony, all those failures, how the times it didn't work. Salespeople go through this. How many rejections do you have to go through to get to that yes? It's disheartening. It's disheartening for things not to work out the way you thought they would, but you can't let that stop you because you got to learn a new skill set. And you've got to shift your mind from expecting things to work out for a feeling to a growth mindset saying, I can figure it out as I go along and I'm willing to learn. And it's not about the feeling. I'll get that in the very end. It's about the commitment. It's about the refocusing and recommitting and just doing it because you said you would. There's no other reason. You are committed to the work because you're committed to the goal. And without that commitment, nothing gets done. So how do you cultivate this commitment? How do you maintain commitment? You got to give yourself a break. You got to give yourself a recharge moment. You can't just work and grind yourself, the hustle that they say. You do got to put in the time, but you don't have to work 12 hours straight. You can take 15-minute breaks. You can take breathers. You can turn that 12-hour day and say, today I'm only going to work 6 because another 3 hours I'm going to take a training course. I'm going to go talk to so-and-so. He's got more experience. I'm in over my head, but I know someone who can do this. Like, say, accounting. Every business owner knows accounting. You hire an accountant. You don't do your own accounting. You hire somebody. You delegate. Managing your workflow, delegating, understanding your skill set, where it is limited and where the learning needs to happen, and also your reason for doing it, your why. why you wake up every day, that purpose, that intrinsic motivation, and just committing. It's going to remind you of the reward that's waiting for you at the end. But what's going to get you through the daily grind is your commitment. You simply choose to do it, not to feel good. You choose to do it to complete it. And in the completion is a good feeling. The feeling of completion is going to give you the satisfaction. And small wins creates the big win. Daily goals fulfills the weekly goal. The weekly goal is going to fulfill the monthly goal. The monthly goal will fulfill the quarterly goal. The quarterly goal will fulfill the yearly goal. Day by day, one step at a time. So if you only keep your eye on the prize and you see the distance that you have, wow, I have so much more to go. Oh my God, I have so much work I got to do. It's another year away. You're just going to dishearten yourself by the inner conversation that you have. Don't talk to yourself that way. Stop that inner dialogue. And all you've got to do is make it through the day. Small goals, small wins produces the big win. Step by step by step. You track your actions, study your metrics, and then you'll actually see that, wait, I actually have been making progress. Wow, I didn't realize how far I've come. Yeah, this feels good. There's your reward. There's the good feeling. Doesn't mean stop there. Doesn't mean go celebrate. Don't celebrate too early. Keep your eye on the prize, but don't fixate on the future. Stay in the present moment. Small goals produces the big win. And you just do it for the sake of doing it because you said you would. That's how you maintain commitment. And that's how you're able to put up with the suffering, the tiredness, the frustration, the irritation, the heartache, the sacrifices, the friends that are not around, those nights alone working, the days alone working. You're going to go through trials and error, triumphs and failures. That is the part of the game. Nobody wins every single game. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below. My contact information will be in the information in the description. Because if you're starting something and you find yourself never finishing it, there's usually some sort of trauma that's causing you to quit. It's causing this disheartened state. It's causing this lack of faith in you wanting to stay in your comfort zone. Because the work can be overwhelming for your nervous system. And that's clouding your decision-making and your thinking ability. And you're not thinking clearly. And you start creating irrational beliefs, and those irrational beliefs cause you to believe that it isn't worth it. And once you buy into it's not being worth it, then you're quit. And that's not where you want to be. And I can help you with that because I am a transformational mindset coach. And this is what I help my clients with. Transform your mindset and then take action. And your actions will have so much more effectiveness to produce the results that you want. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening.